Last Thanksgiving, a child was pinned under an elevator inside a Cottonwood Heights home.
In the aftermath, his family discovered a design issue known to experts in the elevator industry has injured and even killed other children. Fox 13's Amy Nade joins us with that story tonight. Amy.
Yeah, Bob Kelly, this is quite a story to tell. Mary Rice, the mother of the boy you're about to see, is an employee of Fox 13 but does not work in our newsroom. The accident happened at the home of her in-laws, where the elevator was installed 18 years ago for a disabled family member.
I almost lost my son, and if someone had shared the information that I know now with us, this wouldn't have happened to Caleb.
Mary Rice speaking about her 4-year-old son, Caleb, seen here out playing in newly fallen snow on November 28th. He and his family unaware of how their lives were about to change.
911, what's the address? My parents have an elevator in their house. It's on top of him right now. Okay, I'm getting help started. Is he trapped? Yes, he's trapped. He's not making any sound.
911 calls detail a horrific scene.
They're using a car jack. Okay, what part of his body is trapped?
We were setting the table for Thanksgiving dinner, and we heard screaming like I've never heard before.
Right next to the dining room at his grandparents' home.
It is a sound unlike anything I've heard before, and I never want to hear it again, but we heard him screaming, and it kept getting louder and louder and louder and more frantic, and we could hear the elevator door rattling.
Caleb was trapped in the small space between the elevator's accordion door and the door that conceals the elevator.
And he just kept screaming and screaming and screaming, and then it went silent.
He fell down to the bottom, and the elevator came down on top of him.
He looked like his body had been severed. He was turning blue. And they got the door open, and Caleb was pinned from his chest down, so the bottom part of his body was completely pinned under the elevator.
His father ran to his rescue and had to pull this piece off to be able to try to free him from inside.
Chris's dad ran to the garage, got a car jack out of the garage, put it under the elevator, pumped it up just enough to get Caleb out. The next sound I never want to hear again in my life was my husband's scream. I thought my son had died for a good 15 minutes. For a good 15 minutes, I didn't know if my son had survived.
Caleb was rushed to Primary Children's Hospital, where he would spend 3 days.
I will show him to you.
2.5 months later, Fox 13 was invited to join the Rice family as Caleb returned to where it happened.
So this is the part that was on you, bud.
Chris, still too torn up about it to speak on camera, but Caleb wanted to show us.
That's where it is. There's the broken parts, and this is the door.
The kids were being hurt and killed by this. We just jumped on it. We realized this was a truly important story to do.
Todd C. Frankel is an investigative reporter for The Washington Post.
It's amazing to think that this has been a problem that the industry has known about literally for 7 decades.
Unfortunately, these incidents keep on happening.
It's hard to even comprehend that somebody could slip through it, but we're talking about an inch.
The difference between a 5-inch gap and a 4-inch gap is one is safe and one is unsafe. And the fix is simple as well, right? Talking about maybe a $100 retrofit of sticking basically a spacer in between the two doors so that that gap is closed off.
One of the largest and most well-known elevator companies, Otis, took action nearly 2 decades ago.
When there was another boy killed in one of their elevators in 2001, they subsequently went out and fixed all of their elevators, every single one.
But other elevator makers haven't been as proactive.
There's 500,000 elevators out there. Many of them have this hidden hazard that folks don't know about.
Frankel has spoken with at least 6 families where children have been killed or seriously injured in in-home elevator incidents.
It's an incredibly gruesome, horrific accident when it occurs.
I was in the deepest, darkest place while the elevator stopped.
As horrific as this was for Caleb and his family.
No more elevator talk in front of me.
They consider themselves lucky.
Yeah, my chocolate coins are the best coins in the world.
If someone had told us that you can spend $100 on a space guard to make that gap smaller so their little bodies can't fit in there, if someone had told us, my father-in-law would have done it in a heartbeat. People need to know that that's an option. In lieu of a recall, people need to know that they have options to make these elevators safer.
And while there has been no official recall, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission did issue a safety alert last August, which the Rice family says they were unaware of. Safety alerts are listed on the Commission's website and do not require manufacturers to take any action. I did speak with a representative today with the CPSC who confirmed with me that they are investigating the Rice's case. ThyssenKrupp, meantime, the company which now owns Wheelevator, the elevator installed in the Rice's home, issued this statement to Fox 13. ThyssenKrupp's top priority is the safety of both its employees and the riding public, and that goal will continue to guide ThyssenKrupp access and any future interaction with family representatives and applicable governmental authorities. I reached out to several local companies that install and maintain in-home elevators. They were familiar with this issue and tell me it's more of a concern with their older existing elevators, but the fix is available. Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.